Hello, my name is Melanie Wesley, and welcome to the Salon Social Podcast. On today's episode, we are joined by Nene Brooks, a successful salon owner and entrepreneur. Nene shares her journey from starting in the beauty industry at a young age, opening her own salon, and the importance of knowing your purpose and end goal when creating a product line. The conversation also touches on the challenges of salon ownership, building a clientele, and the power of social media in marketing. In this conversation, Nene talks about her experiences in the hair industry, the value of education, and the benefits of diversifying your business and income as a hairstylist. We emphasize the value of education and the need for stylists to constantly adapt and evolve in order to stay relevant and successful. Nene shares her journey of transitioning from a hairstylist to studying psychology and emphasizes the need to explore different interests and not feel stuck in your career path. We talk about the benefits of partnering with established brands and the potential for collaborations. Overall, the conversation highlights the importance of self-reflection, diversification, and pursuing one's passion. I hope you find key takeaways from my conversation with Nene, and I am forever grateful to you for lending me your ear. Until next time, be good, be true, be you. Hey, Nene.
Hey, how are you? It's been so long since
I know, girl. It's been over a year.
I know. So of course, before we, get started, I want to know, how has your transition been?
Well, it's been all of the things. It's been emotional roller coaster. It's been scary. It's been exciting. It's been, second guessing. Like, did I make the right decision? But what we always do as entrepreneurs, we just keep on trucking. We just keep on pivoting and finding ways to kind of make it happen and make it work. And then when you don't get what you need, then you create what you need, right? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And so that kind of brings us to the point of this podcast. Okay. So part of my passion is really helping salons and stylists, new and old, because sometimes when you're in the industry, any industry, and you've been in it for a while, you kind of get complacent and then you start to forget the basics or just not really implement them anymore. So it's just getting back to the basics, reiterating to people what it is we need to kind of bring in business, keep business, and grow business. Right. So, I really just want to educate stylists and just help them to understand the importance of honing in on client experience and how that can really grow your business and help retain clients. I hear so many horror stories, girl, about people making appointments with stylists and all this and never showing up or not being on time or just not having all of the stuff they need for the service. It's just a bunch of things. Right. So just really kind of getting back to the basics. But before we get into that, let me just do your proper introduction. Okay. So, hi, my name is Melanie Wesley, and thank you for joining me on my podcast, Salon Social. Today's guest is the incomparable Nene Brooks. So let me just quickly go over your bio. I know this is just a snippet of it because you're you're that woman doing all the things. But Nene Brooks is a luminary in the natural hair industry. She has been doing hair since she was 11 years old, and she has been a salon owner for 15 plus years. She also has created the HH Product LLC. She has the HHG Products LLC. She has the HHG Beauty Academy, which I just love. And she is a licensed cosmetology instructor. Nene has also founded a nonprofit called Next Up Beauty Pro, which I really want you to talk about. And she's currently completing her BA in psychology at Morris Brown College. Girl, that is amazing. I just wanted to I know this is just a little bit of what, you've accomplished in your career, but you are I just remember meeting you in I think it was 2018 it was. And I just admired you as a business owner because you've always done all of the things. And when I found out you're doing it all by yourself, I'm like, this girl is like a superhero. Like you're a mother, you know what I mean? You're a business owner, you're a product developer, you're an instructor. You have, I mean, you have the academy. I mean, you're just, so I just want you to give us a quick snippet of all of your accomplishments, how you started in the industry and so on. So the mic's off to you.
Okay, so as you stated, just hearing the age back, you know, someone read it back to me like, dang, I've really been like doing this for this long. My first experience with hair was probably in the 6th grade. I had one of my closest friends, she was biracial, but her hair she had maybe the equivalent of 4 people's full head of hair on her head. So it was like straight, but it was coarse and it was thick. And so she cut her bang and she cut it too short. So it was sticking up like this. And I was like, let me see if I can press it down. And I pressed that bang down. That is when I knew that I had skill, right?
Yes.
So fast forward, in high school, I was an assistant at a hair salon at 14. So I did assisting there, and then I started taking clients in the kitchen. So by the time I was a senior in high school, I stopped working at the salon because I was still going to school, of course, but I had so many clients at home. I mean, including my teachers. It was nothing for my parents to get off work and walk past the kitchen and say, hey, and head to their bedroom.
And like there's somebody in the kitchen getting their hair done.
Getting their hair done, exactly. So I always like to say, someone mentioned yesterday, so you always knew that you wanted to do hair. Like this is something that you always knew. And I said, the answer is no. Hair was just a talent that I discovered early on, and it was lucrative, you know, and so I just kind of went with it. So I did not necessarily choose hair. It kind of, this industry chose me. And so doing it all through high school, time to graduate, and that is when I realized that I had a desire for psychology, psych. I actually wanted to attend medical school and become a psychiatrist. So that is what I wanted for myself.
Right.
And of course, I started college like all of my other friends. I was doing hair in the dorms because, of course, that was what I was comfortable with.
You can make some good money doing hair in college.
Exactly. So I was doing hair in the dorms, and then by my 2nd year in college, I just felt like I didn't really have direction, right? Neither one of my parents went to college. On my father's side, everybody's business owners. And my mother, she worked for a corporation until she retired after, I think, about 25 years, something like that. So with that being said, they were always so very supportive. Okay, you want to go to college? All right, where do you want to go? We're going to send you. But I just did not have the guidance and the structure and the support that I needed during that time. So of course I was just like, I need some money.
Yes.
This is going too slow. And so of course I reverted back to what I knew, and that was hair. So I was just like, I'm going to press pause on this college thing, and I'm going to open me a salon.
Wow. And so wait a second. So you decided while you were in college, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I think I'm just going to get into the business of hairstyling. And you went from going straight into opening your own business.
Okay, so there was a space there. I ended up going back home, and the same salon that I assisted in high school, I went to work there.
I got you. Okay.
So I did do booth rental for 2 years before opening the salon.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. So I went into the salon. Mind you, I'm not licensed. I have not went to cosmetology school. So that is when I decided to do an apprenticeship.
Okay. Yes.
So the 2 years that I was at the salon, That is what I was
That's
doing,
right.
my apprentice.
Okay. And you earned your license that way.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep. Yes. So it was not the traditional route. And so that's why I am able to share these different perspectives of the industry, because I actually did an apprentice. And a lot of people don't know anybody that successfully did an apprenticeship.
Right.
And so after I gathered my hours, there was a local cosmetology school. So now you have to be prepared for your test. That's one of the cons to doing an apprenticeship, is that you have to make sure that you are actually still like learning the material, because you still have to pass the same test that people that went to cosmetology school for a year and a half still have to pass that same test. So I went to a local school and talked to the admin, and I said that I would like to enter your state board prep class.
I love it. You're just like making your own journey, your own road.
Exactly.
Like, listen, I need this, and I need you to give it to me. Okay.
Exactly. So I went in there, and they said, okay, well, let's see what we can do for you. And they charged me $500 to come and sit in their state board prep class.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I went there. I learned everything that I needed to know for, to pass my state board. And I did just that. So I went to state board. I passed my test, and I was licensed.
Yeah.
So after that, my father, he of course wanted to support me and what I was doing. So we partnered and opened a salon. So I opened my first salon at 23. Matter of fact, same year that I got married. Yeah, I got married at 23, and I opened my salon at 23.
Wow, 2 major life changes. That's crazy.
2 major life changes. It was a 10-chair salon.
What?
10 chairs.
Okay, so wait. Okay. I'll let you finish telling that. Okay.
It was a 10-chair salon, and I'll fast forward, and then I'll come back to kind of set the tone. So I had that salon. I operated there as a co-owner operator for 10 years.
That's successful. That's really great.
Yeah, for 10 years. So I want to talk about some of the cons. I feel like I was prematurely thrown into a leadership and business situation that I was not prepared for.
Yeah.
I was only 23, so most of the women that worked at the salon were older than me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So of course, I'm not sure if you work in a salon that has multiple stylists before, as large as that. No. But for someone my age, it's not like now, like the young girls now, they're really like getting it in, right? But so this was 20 years ago.
Right.
And I was not prepared. So I, of course, had to learn how to navigate people and their lack of mental stability.
Right.
And people's emotions. And then again, these are women that are 10 my senior, right? And of course, I have to deal with the envious jealousy, like, you have a salon, and this. And so I had to deal with all of that. And that's probably how I know how to navigate people so well to this day, which probably led me into the industry that I am, embarking on. So that all of that was, to me, was very premature. But however, I gained a lot of wisdom from the experience, for sure. And so fast forward 10 years later, I just was feeling like I wanted more. I just wanted more out of life. I was like, it has to be more than this.
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided. So I'm not sure if I mentioned that I did go to college in Atlanta. So that was my first experience in the big city of Atlanta. I met a lot of friends. And I just loved it. So when I left Atlanta, I went back home, opened the salon. Fast forward 10 years later, I was like, I need something. Something's got to change. Yeah. So my marriage was a little rocky at that time. And so I was just like, something else is out there for me in terms of I wanted just more for my life. So I just one day said, I'm moving. I have a salon.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
I'm moving. I gave up my place. Again, the marriage was rocky. I told my then husband, I was like, I'm moving with my parents. We were not broken up then, but he was going through some, career transitions. And I was just like, I cannot just sail and not knowing where this boat is sailing. Okay. So that is when I decided to move in with my parents. And I gave myself 1 year to work, to prepare, to save, to make the move. I didn't know what it was. At this time, I got a 6-year-old. Well, he was 5. I have a 5-year-old, so I got to figure that out. And that's when I decided to go to school for my instructor's license. Because I was like, what if I get to Atlanta and nobody wants me to do their hair? What are you going to do?
Right.
So I was like, well, I'll get my instructor's license. So if I need to get a job instructing, I can do that. So I did that. I signed up for school. I enrolled and I was in school for a year.
Okay.
The same year that I was moved in with my parents, I saved my money and I was going to school.
Right. So you were very strategic about planning for your transition.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it took a year. I gave myself a year. So a year later, I found, it was May. I'll never forget it. I moved in May, moved to McDonough, Georgia. And my son got him enrolled in school. And then, okay, now I have to find somewhere to work, right? Mind you, I still have my clients. I have a full-fledged clientele that I'm leaving, right? So I had an associate. It was actually a hair vendor. And she was like, oh, you're moving to Atlanta. I know a nice salon that you can work at. That is how I got introduced to Too Groovy Salon in Buckhead.
Relationship, currency. Oh my God, it's so important. Knowing
exactly.
people.
So
okay, Too Groovy. That's a really popular salon.
It is. It's one of the first premier natural hair salons in Atlanta.
Yes.
So I ended up going to work there. It was an amazing experience. I was there 2.5 years. It was my first experience working in a commission-based salon.
Yeah.
Of course, the money is not the same.
Right.
However, between the relationships and the education, to me, it balanced out.
Right. And then you're getting a chance to build that clientele in a new city while you're working in the salon too. So that's a win-win.
And then not only that, it like gave me another outlook on salon ownership. I had only known booth rental, and I always said that if I did open another salon, it would 100% be a commission-based salon. I would never open up a booth rental salon. So it gave me that experience. So again, I'm in Atlanta, small fish, big pond. And I still didn't quite have a rhythm yet of how are you going to get your name out here.
Right.
So my time was coming to an end working at Too Groovy, because what I realized is when you work for a commission salon, you become a little complacent, because I was used to the pressure of hustling to
because you had to go out and get your clients when you have your own business. They just come to you. Right.
Exactly. So I decided, and then also because of location reasons, I really needed something on the south side of Atlanta. And so I decided to go in and work with a friend associate of mine in a salon on the south side of Atlanta, that she was in the salon by herself. So I said, hey, I'll come in there and work with you. And went in there, worked with her. And that is when I started to find my niche. Okay. that is when Miss Preston Curl was born. That is when, in that space, that is when the before and after videos, I
Yeah.
realized like people are really, that's when like you could really feel like what people liked on
Right.
social media, like on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Right.
And that is when I found my niche and I was like, oh, they see me now. Like they see
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
did it take like you working at Too Groovy for it to kind of, and then leaving for it to really kind of come into full circle, or was it, or did you like discover that love for like pressing hair when you had to fix that girl's bangs when it was that your first time like, oh, I really like this version of styling, or did you really kind of figure that out when once you started working at Too Groovy? Because that's all they specialize
Too
in,
Groovy
right?
was an aha moment for me because I was like, wow, like
Yeah.
you can really have a clientele with nothing but silk pressing every day.
Right.
I was still doing back home, I was still doing all different types of styles, even
Yes.
relaxers. So I
Yeah.
didn't stop doing relaxers until I got to Too Groovy, and I was like, wow,
Wow.
like yeah, it was eye opening for me. And
Mhm.
so that's when I realized like I'm good at this, right?
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I left Too Groovy and I think that I started to figure out what marketing is.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
mind you, I came up, where you build clientele through referrals.
Right. Or
Client,
you were like on the street, like handing out your card to people. Like,
exactly.
social media wasn't as big as it is
Right.
now.
And then luckily I had a reputation because people knew that I did hair in high school. So
Right.
I kind of had a cheat code a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so when I had to figure out social media, how this thing works, what people like, I had to combine hair, music. I was very selective. I mean, like I would be on the couch for hours editing videos.
Wow.
And I would be selective about the song, like, yeah, this song is vibing. I had to make sure certain parts of the song was meeting with when you do the reveal of the hair. Like it was like a science, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, now it's like people have it so easy because social media kind of creates it for you based on the video. Like
Exactly.
it like pairs the right type of song and all of that. So
Right.
you
So
were
it wasn't
actually
like that.
doing it
Yeah,
by hand. Like
yes, I mean, like you gotta realize I was still trying to figure things out and I was just like in grind mode,
oh,
right?
yeah.
And so I finally, when I figured it out and I started to get momentum, and then when I get it, and then I was like, okay, and I pressed on the gas. And then
Mhm.
that's just when I started to get like notoriety, like, oh, okay, this is the new girl on the block.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You
I probably
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying that that's when I started to get a buzz in the city of Atlanta and I was able to make a name for myself. And I had a good, new girl on the block run for this was, I would say, I've been at this location 6 years. So it was probably like a good 5 year run.
Wow.
A good
I mean,
5 year.
you have such a rich like story and background with in the industry, and sometimes with new stylists, they get on the scene and they just expect to, because social media has really kind of like created this false sense of like success. Like people
Mhm.
just see the highlight reels on social
Yeah.
media and they don't really get to see the grind behind the scenes. But like you started off in high school and then
Mhm.
went to college and then you opened up your own salon and then you worked for someone in a salon and then you finally got back on your own again. And so like a lot of people coming into the industry think like it's just going to happen overnight, but this is like a span of like you said
20
15,
years.
probably 10,
20
15.
years.
Your salon was 10 years and then it was even before that and then you worked at
Mhm.
Too Groovy for a couple. So like this is like 15 years or more we're talking
Yeah, or
about for you to
more.
get to
Yeah.
that point,
Mhm.
right? That
Absolutely.
is, so I think that's very important to highlight. But the topic of this episode is called diversifying your business when it comes to this industry. So like so we talked about your transition from salon ownership and then working into Groovy and really kind of getting a good sense of what it means to own your own salon.
Right.
And then you finally decided to get back into that again. So when did you realize like, okay, this is cool, I've done this, now let's try and diversify this a little bit? And then you started opening, then you created your product line, right? Am I right in that timeline? So tell me about that. Like, what was the driving factor in you wanting to do that?
I just felt like that was the next best thing. I felt like it's kind of like in this industry, you feel like you have a checklist, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm an amazing stylist. Okay, check. I'm amazing stylist. Check. I have a full clientele. Check. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, now I need a product line because everybody else has a product line.
Yeah.
Check.
Yep.
So,
it's like,
yep. Right. So I just decided that I wanted to go that route. And I wanted a local, it was a few things that I wanted. I wanted a local distribution company that could, and a local chemist.
Thank you for joining me for part 1 of this episode of the Salon Social Podcast. Tune in next Sunday for part 2. See you then.